those who came before us and have called this ancestral land home for generations. We respect and honor the treaties, reaffirm our relationships with one another, and move forward together in the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration. Call to order at 7 p.m. That the agenda for the June 9th, 2025 meeting be approved as amended or presented and attached to form part of the said minutes. Councillor Stewart. Everybody had a chance to look at the agenda? Anything you'd like to add or remove? Okay. All those in favor? That's carried. Declaration of conflict of interest. I believe we just have.
Yeah, mine was a camera though, so I'll leave it.
Okay.
I told you about it, so that should be good now.
This way it's on the record.
Yep. 18.1.2.
Thank you. Okay, that the minutes of the May 26, 2025 regular meeting of council be approved as presented. Everybody's had a chance to review those minutes. Were there any errors or issues there? All those in favor? It's carried. That the financial reports for June 9th, 2025 be approved and as presented and filed. Maria, anything maybe you want to add or just highlight in the report?
No, just payables. Standard report.
Do we have any questions or comments on the report? Look pretty straightforward. Okay, all those in favor? It's carried. That the reports of senior administrative officials recorded as items 9.1 to 9.2.5 be received and filed. All those in favor? It's carried. That the department monthly reports be received and filed. Councillor Vic. That we will turn it over to Michelle.
I don't really have anything to add to my report other than just a brief update on the fires. We haven't sent any crews out since Friday, and so the cool weather and the little bit of rain that we've gotten has definitely not taken the risk away completely, but it's kind of slowed it down for a little bit so they can get a little bit more of a handle on slowing down and containing fire. Our fire ban remains in effect. And I attended the UMass convention last week. It was crazy busy. There were so many presenters and so much really good information that we learned. So I don't know if anybody has any questions on my report. I just status quo, working on everything that we're working on.
Thank you, Michelle. Does anybody have any questions on her report? Okay, we'll move on to operations and engineering. And Jamie.
Yeah, there's a few things I'd like to add to that report. The Evergreen Service Loop has been completed. That's been probably over a week. That went without a hitch. We're going to try to do the curb repair that was taken out for new services in-house. So there'll be that. And then as soon as that's completed, we'll be bringing an asphalt company in to repair any road repairs. The line painting has begun today in the downtown core. And just so everybody knows, we'll be adding a veteran sidewalk at Veterans Way. We've already, I think you're being involved in that, making us stencils for that crosswalk. So that will be an added feature this year. I've been in talks with the Legion about it since last year, and I think I brought it to council last year as well. Kind of to gauge interest, and council kind of said, yeah, go ahead with it, so I'm just updating everybody here. What else is there? The building at, the landfill was placed, and, now we're just waiting for, I'm waiting for one more quote to get the electrical installed in there, so that should be hopefully operational within the next week to two. And that's the scale as well. So, yeah, we'll have to see. That's about it.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yep.
Do you have any questions or comments on his report? Jeff?
Just one on the pavement. We've had we've put in fill before and then have it settle, right?
Mhm.
So are you confident we'll be able to pave it this year? Or is it something we should wait for next year?
Well, when they installed, they did compaction tests on every lift, and it was all to, 94% and above, so it's ready.
It should be okay then.
It
We're
is,
not
yeah.
gonna put over pavement,
Yeah,
have it all
and then
paved in.
sags, no, it's been all, tested every level of fill put in there. And
I'm not opposed to a couple more speed bumps in town, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, but she's a little dusty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right, thank
Yep.
you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Jamie. Fire department monthly report. Well, we saw, fortunately, Paul had to run on a call, but if has everybody had a chance to take a look at the report? Do we have any questions to forward? No. The only downside is keep seeing the sharps on there, unfortunately, so. Okay. And lastly is our leisure services, and then Chelsea.
Thank you. So the pool start has been quite a bit different than it was last year. We've been a lot busier. Just with the really warm weather we've had last year, we had really cold May and June weather. So this year it's been a lot busier, but we've actually also seen a very significant increase in our jump-ins for non-swimmers. So they've been averaging at least once a week, probably 2 a week. 1 a week, sorry, probably 2 a week. So we are trying hard to educate the public that when it comes to private rentals, the rules still apply and that it's still the same rules as a public swim time. So that the staff have done remarkable in them. They have gone above and beyond with the jump-ins, and we do reach out to them once they've had to do one, and they're doing really good.
Sorry, Chelsea, what's a jump in?
Sorry, rescue. So a non-swimmer.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've
Okay.
had to jump in. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's
So,
okay.
we've had at least 4 this year.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so, 3 were 6 and under, and 1 was 26.
Hmm.
Yeah. You would have seen that the flowers have gone out around town, so the staff have been busy getting those ready. And we will have, our 100-year commemorative flowers go out here in the next little bit. There's a project starting on the boulevard over here. So that should take shape here soon. The staff have been really working hard on that. We were approved for a framework and recreation grant. So once the multi-sport court is built, we applied for a grant to do a basketball clinic there. It's about $6,000 to bring in a group to run the basketball clinic, and we received $5,000 to do that clinic. So that will hopefully run in August, just before kids go back to school. The staff we were quite sure we had another brine line leak, as we were losing brine once the ice plant was shut down, and the staff were able to find that leak. And we are confident now we have it, so should be good to go. And then the last thing is Riders on the Road event is this Saturday, so we are gearing up for that. That will be a busy event, I think. We have partnered with the Elsie Miller Bears football team, and all proceeds from the silent auction and the McDougall auction will go to the Bears football group. So they're excited for that. We gave them letters and they took them out to all the businesses, and we're asking for sponsorship. So the kids got involved and they'll all be there too. And then, yes, we're gearing up for the 100th birthday. So that's been busy time just planning that. That'll be it, unless there's questions.
Thank you, Chelsea. Does anybody have any questions on her report? All right. All those in favor? That's carried. That council hereby agrees to change the landfill operation hours from 8:30 AM to 5:30 PM to 8:30 AM to 5:15 PM, Tuesday to Saturday, as recommended by the GM of Operations and Engineering Services. Councillor Stewart. And I will ask Jamie to speak to this.
Yes, so we're currently open 9 hours a day. I'm requesting that we close just the gate, to give the staff enough time to, finish their, cash out, whatever cleanup, equipment fuel up, and of course, letting them to wash up and get out of their, work clothes to head home for the day. It would be a big help for us because it will reduce some overtime as well when this happens, because when we get somebody right at the gate at 25 after or 20 after, by the time they unload and get out, we're looking at like 20 to 6. So that's what I'm asking for.
And we
Okay.
also have to cover
Mhm.
the load that
Yeah.
comes in from our permit to operate. We have, whatever comes in, they have to go out and cover.
At least cover, yeah.
Anybody have any questions? Pretty straightforward. Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That council hereby approves RKS Concrete and Tonka Boys to complete the no-frills sidewalk replacement for the quoted price of $38,482.24 plus GST, to be taken out of GL account, Public Works Capital, number 431-310-820, as recommended by the GM of Operations and Engineering. Councillor Stewart. And Jamie.
Yeah, so I sent this tender out to 4 local concrete companies in town here, and we only received one back. This is a couple of them. One of them responded, said that they just don't have time to do it this year. Never got an answer from the other 2 in response to if they were interested or not. So RKS sent me this quote in December of last year, and he just said, "Could I just use this quote? No prices have changed for this." So I didn't think that was an issue, and yeah, so I'd like to get that. I get a lot of complaints about that sidewalk, a lot.
Yeah.
So I would like to get it completed as soon as possible.
Are there any questions or comments on this one? Okay, all those in favor? It's carried. Yeah, I've heard about that sidewalk for a
Yeah.
long time. That council hereby declines the SaskTel proposal to purchase land at 12th Avenue and Lynn Street near Walleye Park for a cell tower installation as recommended by the GM of Community Services. Councillor Vic. And Derek.
So this is the infamous cell tower that's been supposed to go up in Central Park eventually. There's been about 6 different locations. Barbara's Pond right back here. They want to put it in kitty corner to Walleye Park on Lynn Street and 12th Avenue. My recommendation is no, based on future development and the fact that we don't clean that road in the winter. So there's no access to it in the off season. With the move to there, it changed all their criteria from the past to the location. It had to be within X amount of meters between the schools, so that's where Central Park came in, and that's the only place it would work. And then it went back here, and it had to be there because that was the only place it would work. And now the ideal place is on the south end of town, which is nowhere near this school. So just because of that is one of our few places where you could have affordable housing. I would think that there are other places with that distance that we could look at that are more featured for the cell tower.
Thank you, Derek. Anybody have any questions or comments on this one?
I just have a question because I'm unfamiliar with it. So they have been given opportunities at different locations previously that would suit their needs and they turn them down? Like Central Park and all these places, no?
No, we,
They've
we,
approached us with those.
We said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just all these different locations that they're trying to get it.
yeah,
Okay.
So I did list a couple of other places now with the change that could potentially work that aren't in the center of residential areas, like possibly on either side of the water treatment plant, because that's away from, like, if you went on the south side of the water treatment plant, even if you went east or west, it's against trees and it's not visual to anybody's, it's not in anybody's sight line. That would be one. Why they can't put it where the other cell tower is, where they already have, would be another one, or some of the lots in Gordon subdivision that are there would be another option that are no different than the location of the south end as far as proximity to their target places.
So would you present those to them or?
I'll, yes, for sure, we're mentioning to them that that's where it is, and they seem to come with, they pay, cause they went to the church on their own,
Right, okay.
stuff like that, so.
So that's,
Yep.
so that's a one-time sale of $24,000. For 2 acres.
I don't even know if it was quite 2 acres.
2 acre parcel, the end of 12th Avenue.
Oh, no, a portion of the 2 acre parcel would be another place that, where you could potentially go that's not in the heart of a residential area.
So how much land are they talking here then?
20 meters by 25 meters.
$24,000. And $1,200 a year taxes.
Well, the base tax would be based on the size of the land, so I don't know what it would be, to be exact, but.
About a half a lot
Not bad
size.
money.
I don't know, I'm in my backyard. Simple as that.
yeah. Yeah, I,
Well, sorry, you got a microwave going all the time.
That's kind of on the south side of town, there's really not. There's nothing around there. But if we end up developing 12, then it'll be right in our way.
yeah, that's the very next kind of spot for a developer to come in, hopefully for residential is on that section of land. And yeah, we'll be hopefully doing something with the road down the road.
Is their current location on 9? Where's their current cell tower right now?
On the railroad tracks.
Southly, Trevor's.
It's their tower. It's
Right before the tracks. Not their road.
I don't know if they're putting it in there.
Roger Motors.
Oh, that's what I was wondering.
Oh, okay, well, that's why I was confused.
So I think there's a few other options that could potentially be, broached with them. I don't think the conversation is over by any means. But maybe just this location isn't the best in terms of winter access as well. You know, we're not really wanting to start plowing that road just for them. So.
And
Any
I
other?
guess like Derek said, it doesn't meet the requirements that they first came to the
Yeah.
town.
Yeah, they
About-
want it to be so close.
So the next thing is if they put it there and it's not good enough, they're gonna want it different. If we need to kind of stick
Yeah.
within their limits and find something that meets their original requirements.
Or if their requirements change.
Yeah.
Let's look at the whole map again.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So, Jeff, you had something?
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of echo that, right? The fact that they said it had to be in Central Park, then it had to be here, and it had to be here, kind of strong arm you, and they go and try to buy land, and they're trying to do that. I'm sorry, it's, come and work with us instead of saying,
Mhm.
we're gonna be able to do this, because there's plenty of room up by the water treatment plant. So, makes the most sense.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? It's carried. The council hereby authorizes administration to commence proceedings to have the mobile home located at 133 Kingsway Drive out of municipal boundaries as recommended by the GM of Protective Services. Councillor Vic. And seeing as Paul's not here, Michelle, I'll let you maybe add to it.
Yes, this property has moved through the nuisance abatement bylaw process. There were orders where an order to remedy was issued and everything, final notice was issued to the property owner and we haven't heard anything back from them. And moving the residents out of town would be a lot more cost effective than demolishing it. Yep, so this kind of goes with our dilapidated buildings. It's a start
Clean up time.
to dealing with them.
Do we have questions? Joyce?
So when you say move out of town, where is out of town?
You know what, I'm not sure of the location that has been determined, but it's into
It's who, the person who's moving the building was taking it to their storage yard on their farm. That's what Paul had said that day. I don't know where it is, but it's on a storage yard out of town.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't here on.
So it
those.
becomes an RM problem.
No one's living in the problem right now.
Any other questions or comments? Yes,
The person that put forth to do this move does have like the proper requirements to move in, all of that stuff.
Well, they will have to have we'll have to do the moving permit
Yeah.
and we'll have to do all of that, absolutely.
Just because you don't want that liability falling all over the street.
Oh, no, no. We'll have,
Yeah, so-
Les, go ahead.
So the land, the lot that it's on, that becomes the town's lot?
no, not
Not
yet, it would still be the owner. And then the cost to do the actual work would be added to the taxes. And if the owner didn't pay the taxes and it goes through tax enforcement, then it could potentially become the town's property.
So just get rid of the nuisance right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a little less unsightly to have a vacant lot than to have it.
Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? It's carried. Whereas administration has reviewed application 25-08 for a daycare for compliance with zoning bylaw 763/2000. That council hereby approves the development permit 25-08 for a daycare as recommended by the land planner with the following conditions. That the general manager of operations and engineering be consulted when connection of the drop-off pickup loop and parking lot are connected to public roadways for the purpose of signage and proper connection to public streets. And that solid fencing be required between the parking lot and residential uses on the east side of the property to screen the parking lot from adjacent residential use. And that site grading be finished to ensure water runoff does not negatively impact existing residential properties to the east. This can be accomplished through final landscaping or other means. And that no stopping signage be installed at the expense of the applicant and following municipal standards at the drop-off pickup loop entrance and exit to maintain visibility of pedestrians and traffic. Councillor Newdorf. And Jeff is not here to speak to this. Michelle, who would be able to?
Derek should be able to speak to it, or I can.
Yeah, I can. Thanks. Basically, the permit has been approved. The only things that they need to follow up on are the four resolution items, and it's pretty straightforward with it.
Yeah.
That's part of the regulations.
Joyce?
Just on number 3, it says, ensure water runoff to properties to the east. How about to the south, the alley? Would that cause any issues for water runoff?
I think it's already trenched to the
Oh,
roadway
it is,
on,
okay.
on the south side of it, I believe.
I think so. Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor? That the regular meeting of council recess to a public hearing to hear submissions in support of or in opposition to bylaw 1197/25 official community plan at 7:26 PM. Councillor Stewart. All those in favor? It's carried. As presiding officer, I hereby declare the public hearing open. This public hearing is established under the authority of section 24 of the Town of Nipawin bylaw 1197/25, the official community plan. The purpose of this public hearing is to hear submissions in support of or against bylaw 1197/25, being a bylaw to provide for an official community plan in accordance with the Planning and Development Act 2007. Bylaw number 1197/25, official community plan. I would ask the Chief Administrative Officer to introduce the matter under consideration.
Okay, so the official community plan bylaw was introduced for the first time at its council meeting. Now we have, and people were notified, public notice was made. Now we have a public hearing for anybody to present their opposition to or support of the official community plan. Following this, it will go to Twin Lakes at the June 18th meeting, and then it can come back to council following that, and hopefully be read a second and third time, and then our official community plan will be ready to go.
Right. Does council have any further information they'd like from administration? Okay. I would ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the matter. A second time, I would ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the matter. And a third and final time, I would ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the matter. I would ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak against the matter. A second time, I would ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak against the matter. And a third and final time, I would ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak against the matter. I now declare the public hearing closed at 7:28 PM. That the public hearing be adjourned and the regular meeting of council resumed at 7:28 PM. Councillor Blair. All those in favor? It's carried. That council hereby agrees to appoint Jan Bougen and Lisa Vavra as Town of Nipawin representatives on the Wapiti Regional Library Board, and that the town's appointed members be increased from 6 to 12, 1 council rep and up to 11 volunteer representatives. Councillor Vic. You have anything?
I can just speak to the increase in appointees. Right now, we appoint 5 plus the council rep, and so I've been advised that they quite often have trouble getting quorum for the meeting, or people not being able to come out to the meeting, and with 5, it makes it a little tougher. So if they have more people, and plus they have a few other people that are interested in volunteering for the committee, so they would like to open it up to anytime somebody wants to volunteer, that's a good thing.
Thank you, Michelle. Do we have any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1198/25 being a bylaw to amend the traffic bylaw be introduced and read a first time. Counselor Stewart. Michelle, do you have?
I can, unless Councillor Stewart would like to as the chair. Oh, no, sorry.
I'm
that's the
not sure, it's
operations committee.
operations, so it'd be.
Did you, if Councillor Vic wanted to speak to it, or I can? Okay. So at the April 28th council meeting, administration was directed to prepare an amendment to the traffic bylaw to install a new four-way stop at the intersection of Second Avenue East and Second Street East, and to move the current four-way stop located at First Avenue West and Second Street West down one block south to Third Street West. So, and there was also discussion about Third Street West, the parking and the ability for semi-trucks to be able to travel Third Street West. And the operations committee had actually recommended at their meeting to leave the four-way stop where it is, where it currently is, that maybe that we don't need to move the stop sign. And I've brought it back here as council had directed originally, because that was a direction of council. So, but with the information that the operations committee recommended, that we don't need to move that sign. So we leave it to council to go with the original direction or with operations committee recommendation. And there's also some traffic stats. Our community services department went out and did some review of the traffic on that at that intersection. They're also included here.
Okay. So, any questions or comments? Jim?
I'd like to hear from the operations committee, because I wasn't at that meeting, about the
Okay.
discussion that happened.
Well, the discussions what happened is if we do move that four-way stop, it's not gonna help the flow for the trucks. And we aren't gonna alleviate the problem that we have in parking on Second Street. Third Street. So there's really no reason to move that stop sign, because semis are gonna come up on Third Street between where they can and then cross over Fairburns. This seems to be the biggest problem, but they'll be able to move better than if we move that, because we're moving one, we're still not alleviating the problem that we have. You understand?
I hear different from the business owners on that end, very much so.
From him,
Tim, yes,
actually, I hear the other. So,
Tim's the one that said that we should move that four-way to that third. He's the one that, him and I had a conversation about that, so, God, it's been a while now. 4 or 5 months ago, I would say. And yeah, he was adamant that's also the more complex intersection, Third, compared to Second, way more complex. And where are the semis crossing now?
they're coming up. They'd be second,
They're coming down Second?
coming up second,
We
coming
wanna-
past the four-way stop, and in the northwest side of Fairwood. Or they can go down further and take a wide turn and come in from the south.
Which one makes the most sense? That's what I wanted to know. I was told that they were
Well-
crossing at Third. But they're not.
We could get into a whole different conversation, and I know why he's pushing that. This is a better idea for access on both ends of the building. He would like to see all the cars going across the street. He would like to see the business going across the street.
Well, that's
Long
not,
and short,
that's not an option for him, right? This is about whether or not the four-way should be moved, right? And that's
You're absolutely
yeah.
right.
so not
It's
about
not
whether.
gonna alleviate our problem.
Right, and so I did have a few conversations with Tim as well. And while parking was a complaint, his thought on the stop signs being moved was more on the safety side of things as well, in terms of being able to cross that street in an adequate time, not just for motor vehicles, but also pedestrian traffic there, because it's a wider section with higher speeds and less visibility. Joyce?
Yes, I've had that conversation too, but where the stop sign is now, I would say there's probably more pedestrians that use that stop sign to get across the street than there is at the other. Because they're accessing some of the businesses that are on the east side of that street, like the dentist's office, Dam Smokehouse, Scotiabank, so there's a lot more flow. And I see from the stats, there was only one semi or two semis made, one semi straight, one semi left turn in a 2 hour period. So even if that was an annual thing, you're only talking about 10 semis. And is that really a truck route to speak of? I think the actual truck route is by the old fire hall and Salvation Army, actually. So really, they should be turning there and coming north on that street.
That's where they're coming off.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just my thoughts.
Jeff?
Wouldn't they have a hard time accessing the business then, if they couldn't, if it's not on the truck route, the business? So that a lot of truckers use that business.
I believe Joyce means they aren't coming straight down. First,
No, they're not coming down first.
they're going on railway, they have to come off Railway Avenue up.
Yeah.
Toward, and the big thing is we're talking about Market Tire on that side. The other semis that deliver freight to all the other businesses, there's no question, they have to come down the streets, they have to go down the back alleys.
Yeah.
That's another access point for them, is Market Tire.
It's big
To
enough.
get in there, it's big enough to turn in and go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you drive one of those trucks and you come off one of those streets, coming up on Third, instead of, I got it backwards now, Third instead of Second, is your better option. Is you can access to places easily.
All right.
Sorry. Honestly, the only people that I really see crossing the street down there are going back and forth from the sales lot to the body shop in that area, and that's what we do recently. So I agree with Joyce that there's a lot more traffic walk down where those stop signs are right now.
Okay.
So the current resolution says that we would be amending it. So are we looking at just taking it off the table?
I would say here, I think we have to repeal one if we're gonna do that, so rescind April 28th resolution.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the original resolution came to make this, we would have to repeal solution, but
Yeah, we'll fill in.
I thought it was tabled, or was it not?
No, we voted in.
Oh, April 20th.
So what we could do is introduce it and give a first reading, and then do a resolution to rescind that motion and to remove this amendment, and just leave the addition of the stop sign here in this corner, and then do second and third reading. Does that make sense to you?
no,
No,
not really, but that's okay. We'll work our way through it.
I think we just should rescind the April 28th resolution and then have to start a new one. Probably best.
And then we'll do another amendment, a new amendment next meeting for that one.
You'd have to.
Yeah, thus,
Are we addressing the parking that was all part of this?
no, it wasn't originally part of the original resolution. It was just the stop signs, not the parking.
This gets into a thing where council instructed administration to prepare the bylaws for this, right? then operations says, no, we shouldn't. And operations doesn't have that authority, only council does. And council's already made a decision to go forward with this. So, okay, operations doesn't trump council, so now if we want to change that, we have to rescind the council decision on April 28th. That's why, because it was already been made.
Joyce?
I would like a copy of that motion on April 28th. Plus, operations did not make a motion to approve this. It was a recommendation to take it to council for further discussion. That's all it was for. No, we can't make motions.
No, it wasn't a motion, it was a recommendation.
It's the recommendation from there, but it's.
For further information from council. It was, because we knew we couldn't make that decision on our own, so we wanted input from council.
But the recommendation, what Jeff is saying is the recommendation went in conflict to what council had already decided.
Yeah, the decision was made
They didn't think they made a decision.
on April
Move
28th.
that stop sign.
But we talked about this at the last meeting, didn't we?
Yes.
Quite in depth.
Yeah, that's why it's confusing.
The reason that I brought it to the committee was because there had been no direction regarding parking and semi-traffic on Third Street West. There had been no direction provided from council to administration to investigate that. And so I had brought it to the operations standing committee to discuss that part of it, ask, can we get the bylaw sent to council, go through that, and then address the parking issue. And from there, the conversation moved to, well, do we really need to move the stop sign? And then the recommendation was made to come to council that, no, we don't need to move, maybe we don't need to move the stop sign.
I know what happened. We did make that motion on the 28th. And then it was administration that came back and said, I hope you don't do this. So then we talked about it last week and we wanted it to go back to put it into a bylaw that made sense. And instead of going back to operations, we'd have it come back to here. So we're just going in circles here.
Yeah, getting busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
And the reason it went to operations was to talk about, do we want direction regarding the parking?
we didn't go to operations. We haven't had an operations meeting since.
But when it was, you're saying when it was brought forth, it was about the park.
Right, and that was where I wanted direction from committee or council to address, get the bylaw completed, get it, go to council, and then address the parking issue separately from the. And I guess I
One
didn't,
step at a time.
pardon?
You were looking to do it one step at a time.
Right, one step at a time rather than both together. And that's where the conversation evolved at the committee meeting. Well, do we actually really need to move the stop sign?
So here's the actual resolution number. It's, might be helpful to know.
Just
2025-219. It's not actually in the minutes because the minutes are only updated to April 7th. But if you go back to the May meeting, you can actually find the minutes that were approved from that.
I can read the resolution from April 28th if you like.
Yep.
Yeah. That administration be directed to prepare an amendment to the traffic bylaw to install a new four-way stop sign at the intersection of Second Avenue East and Second Street East, and to move the existing four-way stop sign located at the intersection of Second Street West and First Avenue West to the intersection of Third Street West and First Avenue West.
Yeah, so that was the resolution, was just around stop signs. So during the discussion, it was brought up, the parking and everything, which is why it came to committee. So now that it's coming back to council, it's following what that resolution stated to move stop signs and add the four-way stop. So we need to decide as a group, are we continuing with that? Or are we going to rescind that motion and perhaps
I make a motion to rescind that motion.
That's the only.
Okay.
That's when we start. What's up?
So do we need to write up?
Jen should have explained.
Because we did have the operations on the 14th, and we discussed all this, and then we talked about it again at the meeting.
Okay, so I'll let you write that up.
Even though I'd say
So in terms of this resolution that we're working on right now.
So both the guys actually drive trucks, we agree with that, we should not keep it where it is.
I
Mhm.
wholeheartedly.
All right,
So before we
I don't
go
drive
there,
truck.
we, somebody do what, so there's more,
Yeah,
more
it's on the
pedestrian
table.
traffic.
Yeah, this
that
one's on the
crosswalk
table.
Yeah, that's
where
true.
the roads are now.
Likely to
Yeah,
be
the
this,
businesses.
once we defeat this.
Okay.
Way more room this one to move.
All right.
down.
This one.
Way.
This one.
And it's all about a bunch of stops all the way side. How many trucks go into Mark's Tire?
On the north side and the south side, the way these,
Okay,
Okay, so right now, the resolution on the table is the bylaw being introduced and ready first time. So based on some discussion here, I imagine this one is going to be defeated. So is there any other questions on the first reading? All right, all those in favor of the motion? And opposed? It is defeated. Okay, next up, that resolution 2025-219 from the April 28th, 2025 meeting be rescinded. I believe we had Joyce on that, Councilor Watts. Any last discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Right. That bylaw number 1199/25 being a bylaw to provide for the proper collection and disposal of waste and recycling be introduced and read a first time. Councillor Vic. And Michelle, do you want to speak to it or?
Sure, my understanding from the last council meeting was that section 38, separation of materials, wasn't quite clear enough, and so we amended that to say that it be separated into a minimum of the following 3 categories: general waste, recyclables, and metal. Other than that, all of the rest of the amendments are the same.
I think the verbiage is good with this. You read it and it's easily.
Yeah.
Understanding.
Joyce?
The only thing I would say is mixing materials in a single bin is prohibited. I would say that should be taken out, because then it doesn't stray much further than what it was originally in the 38. But saying that it should be separated, yes, I agree with that. How they separate it, I guess that's up to their way of doing things.
Okay, so we take the first sentence out.
Yeah, because that's very restrictive.
Yeah. That makes sense, Joyce. I agree. Anybody else have any?
So we can change that to say as amended. If that's what council wishes.
Or whoever the mover is,
Pardon?
whoever the mover is.
That would be Stacy. So you're all right with that amendment, taking that one sentence out? Everybody else seems all right with it? Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor? It's carried. That bylaw number 1199/25 be read a second time. Councilor Stewart. Another opportunity for questions or comments on this? Okay, all those in favor? It's carried. That bylaw number 1199/25 be given 3 readings at this meeting. Councillor Fast, all those in favor? It's carried. That bylaw number 1199/25 being a bylaw to provide for the proper collection and disposal of waste and recycling be read a 3rd time and finally adopted. Councillor Neudorf. Right, everybody's had a chance. Do you have any other last minute questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? It's carried. All right, on to the round table. And tonight, why don't we start with Les?
Well, nothing to report. Been quiet.
Right? Stacy?
Attended the regional park meeting. Actually discussed what should be fixed up in the park, and it's a lengthy list. Sure, that's all I have for now.
Thank you. Myself, on May 28th, I participated in a SUMA webinar for municipal liability and risk management. My biggest takeaway from that was that risk management is potentially more important than the actual insurance for the event. The quote I marked down for that was, how can we make this event as safe as possible? They also discussed what some different levels of risk are. So low risk would be your trade shows and service clubs. Medium risk are sporting events, or if barriers are required and there is a higher volume of people. High risk would be something like a high level sporting event, or fireworks, or alcohol involvement. So keep in mind your fireworks, it's going to be a high risk event. On May 29th, Suncrest graduation in Melfort. We had 6 graduates from Nipawin and 90 graduates in total from Nipawin, Tisdale, Melfort area. May 30th was the Air Cadets ACR. May 31st was the dog park grand opening. June 1st and 2nd, I attended Media Day. And June 3rd was our downtown revitalization meeting, and it was kind of an introductory to rejuvenate our downtown. So those are the things I attended in the last couple of weeks. And Jeff?
I had lots of hats on, but not this hat in the last 2 weekends. Other training, but it's more to do with cultural training and everything like that, so it is applicable to this hat, but not from this hat. How's that sound, right?
Yep.
I got to go back to Wanuskewin for the first time in a long time, and actually have a guided tour of the whole place. It was very interesting, quite fabulous. So recommend to anybody doing that if you ever get the chance, right? So especially if you get the Brad there in the guided tour, you got new stuff. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Jeff. Joyce?
I attended on June 2nd, my granddaughter's convocation out of the Bachelor of Education. And on June 3rd, I attended the downtown revitalization. Sounds informative, and I think it's a great idea. However, I also realize there's a big dollar sign inside it too. But down the road, I can see that it's probably a way to go. How it's done, I'll leave that up to the administration. And I had a little conversation with a 7-year-old, and he told me if he was mayor, so watch out, that the driveway into McDonald's is too narrow and there's an empty lot right beside it. They should be making a second driveway so that's safer for vehicles to go in and out.
So his parents tell them they can't go to McDonald's because it's too narrow.
No, he came it out on his own. He said, if I was mayor.
great to hear when kids think of stuff like that, you know, it's not a bad thing.
Yes,
Not at all.
yes.
See them paying attention.
Don't
to the
move
community.
forward, move out.
Yeah.
That's what he was talking about.
Yeah. Lisa?
For the first time since being elected to council, I had the chance to attend the Nipawin Museum meeting. The group is working hard to raise their visibility with both tourists and local residents. I noticed they did put a sign up by the greenhouse, so they're full steam ahead for their Canada Day celebrations. They are currently looking for new board members or volunteers to join their group. And they're excited about their role in the 100th anniversary celebrations. And I've got another meeting this week with them. I was disappointed to miss the grand opening of the dog park because I was out of the province, but I heard it was well attended. So that is great. And then finally, I also took part in the downtown revitalization engagement session, which I found very interesting and thought-provoking. So
Thank you. And Kylie?
I don't have much to report these 2 weeks. I've been very busy, but not with anything. Yes. Properties and yards and work, but and kids. But yeah, nothing exciting.
All right, well, thank you. All right, next up is our public forum. And we actually have somebody sitting in the gallery today. It's the first time in a little while.
Enjoying every minute of it.
Absolutely. I know we had a very brief conversation earlier today, and you said you might come in and check it out. What did you think?
Well, Mayor Zacharias, so I forgot your name, it's right there on the wall. That was very interesting, here visiting Tracy Collison, probably some of you know her. I believe she was at the meeting, the town revitalization. Anyway, I'm just, she didn't have time to get here tonight, but I expect the next meeting might be a little more attended by the public. That'd be the tax meeting, but yeah, I'm just visiting and I was on the board of HOAs where I live. And it's just interesting to go to meetings, see what's going on in small town government. I'm from a small town myself in the States. You can probably tell by my accent, but yeah, so I've enjoyed my time here. And I think this is also the end of the public portion of the meeting coming up here, right?
That's right.
So I'll be bidding you adieu as well. But yeah,
Absolutely.
nice to see all of y'all and
Thanks for coming.
see you again.
Thank you for joining
Nice
us.
to be here with me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yep,
Welcome to Nipawin.
Oh, thank you. Yep. It was interesting. Good night.
All right,
Take care.
See you. All right. That the regular council meeting of June 9th, 2025 be closed with Mayor Zacharias in the chair pursuant to section 122A of the Municipalities Act and citing exemptions contained in the Local Authority Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act under section 17E, Economic and Other Interests at 7:58 p.m. Councillor Bath.